Elijah DeSousa, I'm sorry. Glenn McLeod after this.
You guys mind if I stand? Good afternoon, committee members. How do you do today? Wonderful, wonderful. So my name is Elijah DeSousa, and I represent Citizens Against Eversource. I'll speak a little bit upon that in a minute, but before I digress to that, I just want to, speak about the elephant in the room. As I drove in today, I was reading the local paper, and there was a lot of conversation about the federal government cutting funds, and especially in the education sector. And we've sat here for quite some time and listening to a lot of these concerned citizens about those specific funds. But let's be clear here. It is not that the federal government is cutting funds. These funds that are being withheld are a consequence of the disobedience by the state administration, by this administration, particularly Maura Healey in this legislature, because there are some federal mandates that need to be followed to be able to get these funds and have access to these funds. And so let's be clear, these funds are not being cut. There are consequences to the state not following federal mandates, similar to how in these cities and towns, when the cities and towns don't abide by the state's mandates, these cities and towns also get cut by funds. So let's be clear about the paradigms of what happens in these situations, because when these things are happening, there are real citizens that are having a really difficult time with their professions, whether it's teachers, whether it's employees. And so these political games, these political theater games that get played within the administration to try to vilify the federal government, let's be clear here. This is the system that we work in. This is the political paradigm that we work in, okay? And whether there is, someone with the D in front of their name in the federal government, whether there's somebody with an R in front of their name in the federal government, those laws are set and they need to be followed by the legislature, whether we like it or not, because that is the system of democracy that we have in this great country and in this great state. And we can't sit here and pretend that when the other party is in power, we can just avoid these federal mandates. So let's be fair, guys, okay, in that respect. And so with that, I'm going to digress back on to Citizens Against Eversource. And so when I initially started Citizens Against Eversource, I thought, wow, this is the big bad corporation. This is Eversource coming after us, coming after our funds. But when you really research, you find out that they're allowed to be a monopoly, right? And we're going to branch out. This is not just about Eversource. It is about IOUs, or investor-operated utilities, right? And so we're talking about Unitil. We're talking about National Grid. We're talking about Eversource. We're talking about Liberty Utilities, which is the 4 primary IOUs in this state. And what happens is they are regulated by the DPU, the Department of Public Utilities. But here's the clincher, because for a while there, I was, going after the DPU, but the reality is it is this legislature that sets law, and that law then gets passed under the DPU. Their lawyers pick it apart, and requesting some additional time, given the fact that I'm representing 33,000 members.
I'm sorry, you wanted to talk about the better. We'll say this. I'm sorry that, I take a little bit of offense that, because I'm a state representative, and I'm working for my people locally, and I'm sure everybody that's up here cares about what's going on.
Absolutely.
So to go ahead and say that we're not caring, that's not the case. No. But that's what you implied.
No.
That's what you implied. So I'm letting you know that we are caring, and I'm not liking to hear about kids schooling getting cut and then all that. So we're going to figure out a way. But you did not come and just talk about what your issue was. You just said you wanted to talk about how there's mandates and all that stuff on there. But the problem is you should have talked about what you wanted to talk about. You wanted to make sure that you put something else out there. There's a difference. So does anyone have a question?
Will anybody concede some time to me within the committee so that I can finish my...
Time is up. Please remove yourself.
Glenn McLeod. No, stop it. Glenn?
Glenn McLeod. Next is Laura Brzezowski. Laura Brzezowski's not here. Andrea Pancholi. Judith Lewin Mader. Donna Grady. We have a panel with Jennifer Loud and Michael Murphy. Jennifer? Donna Grady. Okay, so after Donna, we'll have Jennifer and Michael. Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you so much to the committee for the time today. I appreciate it. My name is Donna Grady, and I'm a proud 36-year veteran public school educator. I teach kindergarten. It's not what I do, it's who I am.